But he's got 5 Leicester defenders, so it's 2 against 5. So the odds are not quite stacked for them to score a goal, Newcastle. But and again, Leicester just defend it very well.
Siem de Jong's about to come on, the Netherlands international who's missed so much of this season with a thigh problem initially and then with a collapsed lung. But a title winner in the Netherlands with Ajax. He is a regular goal scorer, usually from an attacking midfield position, and he's come on for Ryan Taylor, the first change of the day, with 12 minutes played in the second half.
I think this is a gamble as well by John Carl. 3-0 down. It is a tough call, you know, but they do need a goal, and I understand it being an attacking substitution, but it's also giving away something defensively. I think Ryan Taylor, who we've said has been sort of the holding player in midfield, that Newcastle have probably needed more than one in there, to be honest, but I think he's now leaving his back four very, very exposed, and Leicester could go on and get more.
My question to you would be, as play continues, a long ball by Leicester up towards Janmaat, who takes it down well, the right back for Newcastle. Here, Colback, known for being a tigerish player, why wasn't he playing in front of the back four? Anyway, here's Sissoko, finds Janmaat on this near side for Newcastle. They're trying to get something, get a foothold in this game, but Janmaat is shrugged off the ball by Schlupp, and Gutierrez slides the ball away, but it only goes as far as Vardy, and Vardy's on the surge into the box, and Colaccini blocks well. It's rebounded to Mahrez. Colaccini is injured. In comes the cross, Ulloa. Oh, it's a terrific save by Tim Krul to keep Ulloa out and to stop the Argentinian from scoring a hat-trick.
A super play by Leicester, isn't it? Again, the pace has caused problems. Vardy, Schlupp, both causing problems. Vardy with the initial shot, good block by Colaccini. After that, though, where are the Newcastle players? Just taking off Ryan Taylor. We're just looking at it again. It's 4 against 4. Ryan Taylor's gone missing. He would have probably picked up that loose ball, but Mahrez gets hold of it, whips it into the box. We'll show with a good header, a better header as a goal, but gives Tim Krul a chance to make the save, and he does it very, very well.
Ulloa so close to a treble. Here's Albrighton with the corner, and he'll whip it in with that right boot. Curling ball headed out by Gutierrez. Perez was rather hesitant about making the tackle, delayed, and then when he did arrive, he tripped Matty James up and knocked him over. Just past the top of the hour, Leicester 3-0 up. This is Barclays Premier League Live with talkSPORT. Leicester free kick then, too far out for the shot. Mahrez is going to be the man to take it, swing it in with the left boot. Mahrez takes the Leicester free kick towards the back post, and Sissoko is there to flip the ball away.
But that's what we talked about before. Remember we said about Sissoko being in the right position, and where last time he tried to allow the ball to run out, this time he makes sure, and he gets a good header on it with Vasilevsky coming in behind him, and he's made the right decision, you know, and that's what defending is all about.
Another Leicester corner. Huth is in there, Vasilevsky too. Ulloa at the near post. Looks like Cambiaso's the blocker for Ulloa. The referee might have to have his eyes peeled for that one. Here comes the corner, away swinger from the far side. Huth was up, might come to Morgan here. The player on the floor's got it between his legs. Dummett it was, blocking for Newcastle. He was brave, and they've got it away. And Sissoko with a fine pass has found Riviere. Schlupp is back as the defender, but Riviere away from him. Schlupp trying to get back, and does. Sticks out the boot and wins the tackle.
Very good defending, wasn't it? It needed to as well. Just a chance maybe for a Newcastle counter-attack there.
More changes being planned on the far side. Newcastle have possession. An hour's been played. 3-0 to Leicester. Will Floyd Evans on Twitter says Newcastle very likely to go down. Believe there's a lot of trouble in that club. Will says perhaps 3-1 it might finish today. Here's Colback for Newcastle over on the far side. At talkSPORT Live on Twitter. Remember, retweet, if you can find the tweet, retweet it for Newcastle will be safe, and favourite it if they're going to go down. A little poll on Barclays Premier League Live today. Here's Sissoko from the throw-in for Newcastle on the far side. Crosses into the box. Schlupp is there again. He's been very good at left wing-back, Schlupp, today, defensively and going forward. Oh, on the near side, Vardy comes towards the ball, and the tackle came in, and Vardy's gone flying into the camera down there. Williamson has made the challenge, and Williamson's got a second yellow card. He's off. Mike Williamson's been sent off, but I have to say there's concern for Jamie Vardy, who went flying into the camera. I mean, that looked horrendous.
Yeah, and there's actually no need for this challenge as well. Again, Williamson on a yellow card already. Why does he dive in like this and take the chance? I mean, the concern would be for Vardy. Thankfully, he's sort of trying to sit up at the moment, and these cameras that are on the edge of the pitch have got padding on them for that reason. But it was a poor challenge by Williamson. Whether the ball was just slightly going out of play or not, I'm not sure, but why he makes that challenge, I mean, it's just making things worse for Newcastle.
And you know, Mike Dean has sent Mike Williamson off for the second time this season. He was the referee when Newcastle played Aston Villa in August, and Williamson had to go that day too.
Funny thing was as well, absolutely no complaints from Williamson. You know, most players,
it's on the halfway line. That's the point, and he goes flying in with the boot raised. And Vardy, as you say, Clive, from the other angle we can see, he flies right into the padding. And
he's lucky.
Thank goodness that padding is there.
Yeah, he's very lucky. And again, the pace of Vardy has caused Williamson many problems. The tackle has actually come, by the look of it, off the field of play, which means the ball was out of play, which means he didn't need to make the challenge anyway. But he was getting beat by pace, and that was the one thing that Williamson couldn't handle. And it's the right decision. You know, he's made the right decision, Mike Dean, to send him off.
Yeah.
I mean, arguably, it's a straight red anyway, looking at it again.
Yeah, it certainly had disregard for Vardy's safety, didn't it, the challenge, and the referee has to be thinking in those terms. Vernon Anita is going to come on for Newcastle. Well, Riviere's coming off and Anita's coming on. Well, this will allow Siem de Jong to take up a more attacking position, maybe.
Possibly, but again, you know, from a player's perspective,
if you're a Newcastle fan listening to this now, you're thinking, how does this win us the game?
Well, also you're thinking, you know, it's going from bad to worse. You know, how do you get back into the game? You're down to 10 men. You know, you're 3-0 down against a side that are on the front foot and have been from the off. You know, it's just going to go from bad to worse, you feel. Here's
Ulloa. Could have had a hat-trick a few minutes ago. He's got 2 already, won the penalty, won the goal in the opening minute of the game. No way through for Cambiasso for Leicester. Here he is on halfway now.
Even Siem de Jong, who just came on, played that ball forward, actually won the ball off Cambiasso, did well. His pass straight to a Leicester player, but straight after he passed the ball, his head went down. You know, as a player coming on as sub, you want to get a little bit of inspiration from your subs. It's not going to happen, is it, for Newcastle?
The olays from the Leicester fans as their team passes the ball around. Little 5-6 yard passes. There's no challenge on the ball here. Newcastle aren't getting close enough. Sissoko is now getting a little closer to Morgan, who goes back to the goalkeeper. But this is a little humiliating for Newcastle United at the moment here.
And I think that's the worst thing for the fans. You know, that's the one thing they don't want to be, is humiliated.
And there's the pass down the left-hand side, which sees Newcastle finally win the ball back with Colaccini coming across. But he's then given it immediately back to Schlupp. Little turn from Schlupp, and Cambiasso's found Vardy, and Vardy with the nutmeg. Leicester are going for the party piece, but in the last second the challenge came in, and Newcastle were able to clear. But that's the applause for the quality of the move there. Every pass was a back heel.
It's lovely to watch, isn't it? Little nutmegs as well. If he gets on the end of that and finishes it, what a goal it would have been.
Here's Anita for Newcastle. Anita's cross towards Sissoko. Cambiasso back with a volley clearance.
Good defended by Cambiasso. Again, getting back into a good position just to stop the ball going all the way through to Sissoko. Still working hard, Leicester.
Janmark with the cross from the right. Sissoko's got his hands on his hips as if he's out of puff.
Mind you, that delivery into the box was a poor one as well.
Yeah,
nothing seems to be going right for Newcastle. You know, they're going to have some tough games. Last few games of the season, it's going to be really tough.
A missed challenge from the defender from Dummett, and Vardy's away. Ulloa's waiting in the centre. Colaccini slides in. Now Vardy tries to find Ulloa again. Colaccini denies him. Here's James arriving. James wide to Vardy. Now Mahrez. Cambiasso's coming into the penalty box. Mahrez goes for a little walk with the ball out on the far side. He's up for more taunting, I think, Riyad Mahrez. He has the ball on the right wing, can't get between the two defenders, Anita and Gutierrez. And here's de Jong for Newcastle. Last quarter of the game approaching. Leicester about to move here to 34 points, with Newcastle seemingly stuck inert on 35. Newcastle have the ball at the back. Their last 3 games, Newcastle, at home to West Brom, away to QPR, and then at home to West Ham United on the last day. Here's the ball over the top for Jose Perez. Perez trying to beat Wes Morgan. Morgan stood his ground. Perez fell to the floor. No free kick. Leicester clear up to Ulloa. Trying to play in Mahrez on the turn. Wins the throw in. What do you think of those last 3 games for Newcastle, Clive? 2 home games, West Brom and West Ham.
Yeah, the trouble is when you're losing games like they are, maybe at home you don't want them. The way the fans have been, the way they might be.
Stop the league right now, no more games.
Yeah. The only one thing I was just thinking a few moments ago, obviously the result of this game looks like it's all over for Newcastle, but of course their biggest rival, Sunderland, have got a home game just coming up this afternoon against Southampton.
That's a huge game, isn't it?
If Sunderland suddenly get 3 points, I've played in those derbies, Sunderland, Newcastle, and they are massive for the fans. It's a fan sort of scenario. It's going to be it's going to make it even harder, but it's going to give Sunderland as well a big lift this afternoon to see their local rivals losing again and put them within a distance. They're only 5 points away from Newcastle now. They get 3 points this afternoon. They're only 2 points away from Newcastle. It's going to give them a huge lift, and it's going to hurt Newcastle even more.
Here come Leicester again. That was James trying to get on the cross from the right-hand side, sliced the volley towards the corner flag, and it goes out in the end for a throw-in. Sissoko just watched it. He thought he was going out for a goal kick, and now he's got a throw-in in an awkward spot right by the corner pole. On Sunderland, arguably they could have, their position would have been stronger had Newcastle won today, because it would have left Leicester much closer. So a difficult one for Sunderland fans to work out today, perhaps. But
they like seeing their local rivals lose anyway.
They certainly do.
That'll give them a lift, if nothing else.
3-0 to Leicester, and Schlupp on the charge, but couldn't quite pick out Vardy with the pass forward. And Vernon Anita, who is now playing at left back after the reshuffle, hits a long pass forward, and it goes all the way through to Schmeichel. While Clive was talking a second or two ago, Leicester made the change. Vasilevsky's come off, and Delette has come on for Leicester, defender for defender. 68 minutes on the watch, 3-0 Leicester. This is Barclays Premier League Live with talkSPORT. As Leicester trying to play the ball forward towards Vardy again, but Krul comes out. Well, a great deal that Tim Krul could have done about any of the 3 Leicester goals today. Here's Colback for Newcastle down the right. Janmaat making a run outside him. Colback plays it back in field to De Jong. De Jong wasn't really aware that there were players storming around him, and Mahrez won the ball. De Jong wins it back with a tackle. Then Gutierrez is dispossessed by Cambiasso, and Leicester feed Vardy. Vardy up against Dummett. He wants to take him on for pace. He's going to get round him. He's been brought down by Dummett, and that's going to be another yellow card for Newcastle. Vardy was winning that all day long, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think Dummett realised he was in a position of no win. He's in a situation one-on-one against Vardy. Vardy just sees the green grass beyond Dummett, just pushes the ball into the space, charges after it. Dummett was never getting there. Never getting there for me. Vardy just used his pace to the full advantage and winning a free kick again in a very uncomfortable position for Newcastle.
Yeah, it's what, a metre or so outside the right edge of Newcastle's box, level with the penalty spot. Mahrez can whip it in with a left boot, Albrighton with a right boot. I mean, they've got good delivery from both men potentially. It's Albrighton who takes, and it's Gutierrez who wins the header. James was looking to win it on the edge of the box. Newcastle appeal for handball. Cambiasso struck it, hit Dummett and knocked him over. He's swiftly up, and Newcastle have the ball. Back it goes to Krul. He finds Colback on this near side, the ginger-haired midfield player. Infield to Sissoko. Back by Sissoko to Gutierrez. Leicester content to get back behind the ball here.
I think they just want to keep a clean sheet, Leicester. You can understand that. Just use Jamie Vardy's pace if you want to launch one forward and get higher up the park. But obviously, from their point of view, game over. Just sit in and defend now. And as we said earlier, it's all about taking points now. The Leicester fans will be happy whatever now. So it doesn't matter what their performance does for the last 20 minutes.
Little cross came in from the right-hand side towards De Jong. It went out in the end for a Newcastle throw. De Jong and Anita, ex-Ajax, the pair of them. Forward now by Newcastle to Sissoko, and now Perez on the spin on the edge of the box. There was almost room for a shot, and perhaps there would have been had Morgan not fouled him. And going to get a yellow card here from the referee.
Difficult to see how much actual contact there was on Perez, and Perez has gone down 2 or 3 times just because of Wes Morgan's physicality. I mean, he's a big, strong, tough lad. Just seeing it again. Well, I just think maybe the ball's got away from Perez slightly. He's tried to do a little trick. Well, yeah, you can see maybe they're coming together. Just didn't allow Perez to turn. Free kick, 2 or 3 yards outside the box, slightly to the right-hand side.
Yes, I mean, it would be amazing if Newcastle were to launch a comeback in this game and really trouble Leicester, given the context, particularly in the second half.
Well, a goal will make a difference, you know, and I think it will start to ask questions. And this is a good opportunity. It looks like Jack Colback to take it.
Colback, the favourite, curls it over the wall and into the gloves of Schmeichel, who read the situation perfectly and caught the ball.
Well, even that didn't work properly, did it? I mean, there's no pace, there's no power in it. Very difficult to get it up and over when it's so close to the edge of the penalty area, but Schmeichel in a great position. Mickey
Brown on Twitter says, I see QPR and Burnley going down. Leicester will survive, and it does look like that at the moment, Mickey. This will be a 5th win in 6th for Leicester today, unless something extraordinary happens in the last 18 minutes. 3-0 as James brings the ball clear for Leicester on the counter. He's urging Albrighton to get up outside him, and then threads the ball in behind for Vardy. Good pass, Ojoa in the middle. Can he find him? Oh, he can't. Just too high, the cross.
That's unlucky.
Yeah, Ojoa smiles as he turns away, but...
Yeah, he knows that. That's unlucky. That's a good run, but again, poor defending. Colaccini just drops in and allows Jamie Vardy again to use his pace, gets in behind the left-hand side. Delivery, trying to pick out Ojoa. Decent enough ball in, doesn't quite find his man.
Leicester players not beginning, I mean, they are relaxed, they are enjoying it. Cambiasso's coming off. This is the reception for him. Yeah, after 10 years at Inter Milan, I don't think Leicester really dreamt that they could have made a signing of the kind of profile of Cambiasso, but he's lived up to his big reputation this season.
Certainly has. I think he's been terrific for them. And as I said earlier, I think he's the type of guy you want in your side rather than against you. He gives that little bit of steel in midfield, great passer of the ball, good reader of the game, bags of experience. But I think also in the dressing room, that's where he probably really does come to the fore. You know, you want that experience in that dressing room, especially having just got promotion.
Big hug for Cambiasso as he came off. Dean Hammond has replaced him. Newcastle have made a change also, and it's Perez who's come off, and young Adam Armstrong, the 18-year-old, part of the England under-17 squad that did well last summer.
Yeah, and he scores goals, you know, but he's got to be given the chance. You've got to create for him. You know, he's a good young prospect, but again, sometimes when you bring in young lads in, it's a poor challenge.
Colback on Vardy, lunging in.
When you bring in young lads into this situation, 15 minutes to go, down to 10 men, 3-0 down, no, it doesn't sometimes always do him the world of good, but he can score goals, so fair credit to John Carver to give him the chance, you know, because he'll just be thinking, can I score?
15 minutes to go. Frankly, a Leicester 4th looks more likely than one back for Newcastle at the moment.
Just going to say the same. I think you're absolutely right.
Williamson sent off. Remember, Newcastle only have the 10 men. Mahrez takes the free kick in, headed out by Janmaat. It's time here for Hammond to shoot, the substitute, and he blazes it over the crossbar.
Blazes it over with a big smile on his face. He knows it was a poor. Never went with any conviction, Hammond there. And having said that, you know, you look at defending again for Newcastle. I know they're down to 10 men, and it's difficult for them. But absolutely no one on the edge of the box to try and stop Dean Hammond from getting the shot away.
Aaron Stewart's been in touch on Twitter. Hello to you, Aaron, down under, listening from Australia. He says, supporting Newcastle is so frustrating. I can almost see you typing that out with gritted teeth.
Yeah, Aaron. It's painful, I think, more than frustrating as well. Probably a bit of both.
Oh dear. Such terrific fans that Newcastle has, and they're in such great number, and this team at the moment does not do them justice. 3-0 down to Leicester City, who won the championship last season and are going to get to 34 points here. Here's Janmaat for Newcastle on halfway. Have they got the energy, have they got the belief to get anything back from this game? With 10 men again, we'll remind you, after Williamson's sending off. Trying to find Sissoko down the left. The left was there with the header away. Anita returns the ball to Sissoko, who's in an offside position. And it doesn't look remotely likely at the moment for Newcastle. Burnley are bottom, of course, with 26 points. They're away at West Ham today. QPR have 27. They're at Liverpool. That's our featured game from 3. Remember, all of these games are available in full via the website talksport.com, or you can download, if you haven't already, the TuneIn app, the OneFootball app, perhaps the TalkSport app as well. Sunderland have 30 points, and they're playing at home to Southampton today. What a big game that is. They've got what appear to be even tougher games than that to come, Sunderland. Their run-in is hard. Then it'll be Villa 32, Leicester 34 with Hull, and then Newcastle 35. Delette battling for the ball with young Armstrong over on the far side of Newcastle. Referee Mike Dean's there, so he's gone behind. It'll be a goal kick to Leicester City, who are preparing Andrej Kramaric, their record signing, the Croatian, to come on. News from the Championship, because it's been the final day. In the last few minutes, we've got this news. Bournemouth have been promoted to the Premier League as champions. Watford also promoted, but they finish the Championship season in second place. The change being made at the King Power Stadium is that Leonardo Ulloa, having scored twice, is coming off. So Bournemouth and Watford will be part of Barclays Premier League Live next season. Meanwhile, the playoff spots, Clive, are filled by Norwich, Middlesbrough, Brentford and Ipswich. That means that Wolves and Derby have missed out on the last day. Brentford in the playoffs, with a chance of getting promoted to the Premier League. You can follow those playoffs with TalkSport on talksport.com. And if you aren't familiar, I'm sure you are familiar with them, they are usually extraordinary in terms of the drama and entertainment that they provide. Well, back to the Barclays Premier League, and Leicester are leading by 3-0 against Newcastle. What about Bournemouth in the Premier League next season?
I think it's a fabulous story, isn't it? Bournemouth, who'd have expected that? As I say, give the manager a massive amount of credit. What a job he's done there.
Bournemouth have spent some money with a Russian backer. Watford have played some splendid football as well, scoring plenty of goals too, haven't they? Yeah,
be interested to see, of course, always what happens next season. 3 teams that get promoted. We're looking at one from last season today in Leicester, that, you know, how tough it is to stay in the Premier League. You know, that's the toughest. You get there by playing whatever style you want to play and how you go about your business, but it's a completely different story in the Premier League, and I'm sure Watford and Bournemouth will find that out when the season kicks off next August.
Leicester have got themselves a free kick here at the King Power Stadium. Jack Colback was pinged by referee Mike Dean, and it's maybe 35 yards out. Mahrez is there, Matty James as well. You think it's too far for the shot, and indeed Leicester just look to try and keep the ball, with James moving it out to Delette over on that far side. Delette, tall, a blonde-haired defender. Now he's found James on the burst. Now Delette once again over on that right-hand side. Neat passing between the two, and then James just overplays it, and Newcastle can bring it away. And here's Anita in the left-back position. But Newcastle are under pressure on the ball, so Dummett has to lift it forward. And Delette is there to win the header for Leicester. Now nodded forward by Hammond.
Yeah, I was just wondering if Newcastle, you know, after the sending off, and that's tough, but, you know, whether they can get some pride back, you know, for themselves, for the fans, for the football club. But it hasn't happened. You know, sometimes 10 men can be very, very difficult to break down, but still we're seeing the gaps. I know they're down to 10 men, and they were never going to win the game once they got the sending off, but you get some pride back by looking resolute, looking strong, looking like you're not going to let anything else go in. But they're still leaving huge gaps, Newcastle, and as you said before, Richard, it certainly does look like Leicester might, if they wanted to, score a fourth, as opposed to Newcastle getting one back.
10 minutes to go. 3-0 Leicester is the score here on Barclays Premier League Live. Vardy thinks he was fouled there out on the right hand side. He has been by Paul Dummett, and Dummett, who has been booked, is now
West Ham Burnley in 3-1. It really is now or never for Burnley. No win in 5, no goal in 8 hours, no victory today, and the Championship lurches even closer. Sean Dyche makes one change from last Saturday's costly defeat by Leicester City. Ashley Barnes comes back in up front after returning from suspension. He and Danny Ings without goals since February. As QPR showed last weekend, though, West Ham showed little sign of knocking themselves out of neutral. Without the cut of Sacco up front and the midfield vim of the first half of the season, the Hammers have continued to coast towards the summer. 1 win in 14 ought to give the Clarets all the incentive they need. They show one change also from their goalless draw at Loftus Road. Morgan Amalfitano gets a first start in 3 months. 18-year-old Reece Burke keeps his place in defence, with Winston Reid still out with hamstring trouble. It's West Ham against Burnley from Upton Park.
Absolute tatters. Mike Ashley, the owner, has let the fans and team down. Hashtag big time. A lot of the blame from the Newcastle supporters is going in the direction of their owner, who they feel has not invested in the club as he might do. He is an extremely wealthy individual, Mr. Ashley. talkSPORT Live if you want to add your thoughts to the mix. As Leicester maintain possession with James and Albrighton on the halfway line. It's just turning, it's sort of a party atmosphere almost at the King Power as Leicester find Vardy on the break. So often they're finding him on that right channel. Then the low ball comes in from Albrighton, but Krul is there to fall on the ball for Newcastle.
Yeah, it's just one of those games where you feel the Newcastle players just want to get off the field and play now.
I mean, Leicester,
I don't think they've not got an answer. With 10 men, they haven't got an answer, but from Leicester's point of view, clean sheet would be nice, but just using Vardy's pace every single time to get themselves higher up the park, and it's worked a treat for Leicester.
Yeah, it's killing Newcastle, isn't it, in behind every time. It's worth reminding everybody, worth reminding ourselves really, I suppose, the way we're talking about it. Such is the difference in form between these two teams that at the end of this, even given Leicester's victory, which is inevitable, Newcastle will still have one more point than Leicester City.
Just wonder for how long, though.
Yeah. Leicester with 5 wins in 6 on the way here. Their games to come: at home to Southampton, away to Sunderland, and then at home to QPR.
Well, away to Sunderland will be a big one, and then depending on the results and how they go, playing QPR at the end is massive. But the season could be all over by then.
Here comes Vardy down the right-hand side by the corner flag. Dummett is tracking him. Careful not to lunge in this time. Now Mahrez, who, when he's gone on the ball in the second half, has been a real tormentor for Leicester City. Quick feet, hasn't he? Got great skill.
He's looked good. His balance has been terrific. I'm just looking at Newcastle at the moment. They're treading water. You know, they're feeling very leg heavy at the moment.
Vardy almost played in again on the angle on the right side of the box. It's where he's always lurking, but out comes Krul again. They just want to go home, the Newcastle players.
They've had enough. Yeah. They just want to accept that they've been beaten and maybe move on to the next game, but it's going to make even the next game even harder.
Tell you what, Nigel Pearson had that ostrich rant in midweek. If this is going to be the result, I tell you what, Nigel, pick another crazy animal, do it all again. 3-0 to Leicester City. Here's James with the ball forward. Up it goes towards Kramaric. He's nodded it on intelligently. It's Vardy again, on the right again. Kramaric near post. Here they come at the back post. Hammond was arriving. Cole backtracked his run at least, and the ball drifts out for a Newcastle throw.
Yeah, to be fair to Jack Colback, he's worked hard in there today, but he's been very isolated. It's been very difficult for him. I think he's a wholehearted, honest player, and he's really given everything. And just got back into the 6-yard box just inside coming up to the last 5 minutes. Some of the other players wouldn't have done that.
Yes,
I name one of them.
Well, Sissoko made the foul there on Richie Dillette.
I think, again, I spoke about him before the game. I just think he's one player that has given up the ghost for Newcastle, and I think that's like a virus within the dressing room, and we've seen it again today. His performance has been very, very poor.
All the more so because he's potentially the best player at the club.
Absolutely. Everybody who's seen him play knows he can do so much better, and he's just not given enough.
85 minutes played, Leicester lead Newcastle by 3-0. You are listening to Barclays Premier League Live with talkSPORT. Treatment here for Jamie Vardy, little break in play. He's had to have some pain-killing injections on a foot injury recently, so he's done his good work through the pain barrier. Well, Leicester fans must be absolutely loving this. What it's like to be a Newcastle fan, listening or watching, I dread to think, quite frankly. But yes, it will have been a black mood for some time amongst Magpies fans, and to witness this Leicester City momentum and this whole swell of enthusiasm for the team and the way the team is responding and then leading that again. Can't make it any better. Vardy is limping towards the touchline. He's had a problem with a foot injury.
He's been
good, yeah.
Absolutely terrific. You know what he does? He does what he's good at. And I like players who do that. He doesn't try and make it difficult for himself. He comes forward and checks in behind and uses that pace to zoom in behind defenders. And he stretches teams. It gives them problems. It's difficult to defend against when you've got pace like that. But you've got to use it properly. And he's for one does. You know, he doesn't try and do things that are hard for him. He does the simple things correctly.
Here he goes coming again. And Kramaric is waiting in the centre for the cross. Or Brighton was the man playing it in there.
But how simple was that, Richard? From a simple free kick. The ball should never, ever have got in there. And yet they get it between the left-back or left-sided Anita. Centre-back's done it. He's in the wrong position. You know, it's just too easy. And it's been like that for most of the game.
It started with a corner for Leicester. They've got another corner here. And in space in the centre is Vardy. And out came Gutierrez to nick it for Newcastle. But Mahrez has won it back. And Colback just about gets in his way and stops his progress. And then fouls Colback. And it will be a Newcastle free kick. A little bit of a nod of the head to Leicester's recruitment as well. We know they've spent money on transfer fees and wages, but they took Jamie Vardy from Fleetwood Town, who were a non-league club, albeit going up at the time. They found Mahrez in the French second division playing for Le Havre.
It just proves there are players out there. You know, if your scouting system's good enough, you don't always have to get the checkbook out and spend as much money as possible.
Here's Jan Mark for Newcastle, right corner of the penalty box. They're on the front foot here. Armstrong now inside the box, turning, finding Siem de Jong, space for a shot, and at the near post, Schmeichel took no chances. It might have been going wide, but he's got both wrists to it anyway.
Yeah, I think de Jong's got a better chance here if he takes it first time, but he decides to have a touch. And then he's got the angles a lot harder, and it gives Schmeichel a chance to make the save, although I agree with you, I think it was just going wide, but he just made sure. 2
minutes to go. Newcastle corner. Going to be taken from the right-hand side by the left foot of Jack Colback. Deep ball towards the back post. De Jong was actually not far away, and he decided he wasn't going to make it, but it looked like he could have headed it in.
Do you know what? That sums up Newcastle, in my opinion. This is a terrific ball into the box. It's inside the 6-yard box. Newcastle have got 2 players against 5 of Leicester. You know, often when you see an in-swinging corner coming in, they load the 6-yard box. And for some reason, well, obviously the situation they're in, Newcastle, but still nobody trying to get a goal, get some consolation out of this game.
Quick word to Javan, who is listening in Wellington, New Zealand, home of the Wellington Phoenix. Javan asks, is Chris Wood, Kiwi, still on the Leicester roster? He certainly is, Sir Javan. He's on the bench today. We haven't seen him, as you know, but had 6 weeks on loan at Ipswich until recently. He's on the bench today. And Kramaric running in behind there. Can't get on the end of it. Offside flag is up. Here's a stat for you, Clive. The gap between Newcastle and Leicester on February the 28th was 17 points. And today, 2 months later, it'll be a single point.
Well, you just couldn't have seen it coming, could you? But it sums up, actually, the last 2 months for Newcastle. But it also says about what you can do when you're almost down and out, as Leicester were. What you can do if you get together as a group and a team and stay together as a football club, you can get yourself out of trouble. You need a bit of momentum. You need a little bit of luck as well. But Leicester has certainly proved that when you're in trouble, you can get out of it with a 100% from every single person involved with the football club.
Newcastle haven't scored an away goal since the middle of February at Crystal Palace in a 1-1 draw. Away form is often a barometer, isn't it, of the way a team feels about itself, as Vardy is hacked down again, and there's another yellow card and a red card, another sending off for Newcastle. This time it's Jan Mart. They are down to 9 men. 8 consecutive defeats, 9 men on the field. They're losing by 3 goals at Leicester. This is just dreadful for Newcastle. How could it get worse? They are being taunted, and they have been outplayed by Leicester, and they are ending pretty close to disgrace.
Well, thankfully the final whistle's not far away, and it can't get any worse for Newcastle, can it? But you have to say, this is just not defending for me. I mean, it's awful. He doesn't actually need to make this challenge. If he just steps off and makes a different run, runs differently, he'll wait for Jamie Vardy just to turn into him. But he actually gets the wrong side. He can't make the challenge from that side. You've got to go through the player to get there. And if you're on a yellow card, well, we can't say any more.
Don't do it.
You just don't do it. It's just ridiculous defending. And that, to be honest, sums Newcastle up completely.
John Carver walks away from the side of the field with a shake of the head, looks towards Dave Watson and Steve Stone, his coaches, neither of whom look back with any kind of positivity as Hammond drives a shot from 30 yards well wide of goal.
There's no more to say, is there?
What can they say? What can they say?
Nothing the assistants can help you out with now. John Carver has to stand up and be counted. It's going to be tough for him, you know. Will he get the job permanently in the summer? I doubt it very much on the performances that have been seen. What's going to happen with Newcastle over the coming months, even years if you like, but I just think in the near future, you know, there's big questions going to be asked. Firstly, can they stay up? Secondly, what is Mike Ashley going to do during the summer break? So lots of big questions, and certainly some that will be answered and probably some that won't.
John Carver's chances were slim and none, and Slim left town a long while ago, I think.
I agree.
But who's going to... I mean, it's a big job, it's a huge job. Here's Albrighton with a cross for Leicester, and Vardy! Oh, he doesn't get his goal. Vardy just mistimed his jump. He was 7 yards out. His play deserves it. But Vardy just couldn't put the final nail in Newcastle today.
What a terrific ball in as well, but he had to get defending. I don't know where Colaccini is. I don't know what Anita's doing. You know, and he gets between them. Jamie Vardy should have scored. I think it'd have been a shower, that'd have been in the back of the net, but in a great position to get a goal. Does deserve it, but this one just missed time.
He's down and dispirited, Jamie Vardy, after missing, but he really shouldn't be. For what he's given to Leicester City today, many teams at the bottom will envy a player like Jamie Vardy on a day like today. The whistle goes from Mike Dean. The Newcastle heads go down once again, but the roar is for Leicester City and for Nigel Pearson. They have won by 3-0, and they have won at a canter against 9-man Newcastle. More analysis to come. You are listening to Barclays Premier League Live with talkSPORT.
Coming next on Barclays Premier League Live, Liverpool versus Queen's Park Rangers from Anfield.
Deep crossing towards Sturridge. Liverpool double their money, and Daniel Sturridge finally does get on the score sheet from Jordan Henderson's cross
across the face of goal for Charlie Austin, and Charlie Austin has struck that ball right into the back of the net. Goal for Queen's Park Rangers.
Followed by Manchester United versus West Bromwich Albion from Old Trafford.
The Meta does stand over it for Ashley Young to take, right-footed free header for 4-1. Manchester United are running away with it. Chris Smalling has got in on the axe.
Delaney deflected backwards, driven in by Gardner. Oh my, what a stunning goal from Craig Gardner, who scores in back-to-back games. But this one could really matter.
That's all still to come on Barclays Premier League Live with talkSPORT.
Well, the celebration is continuing at the King Power Stadium with the scarves being waved in the air as the Newcastle players trudge in sorry fashion from the field. They have been well and truly dispatched today, and they have now lost 8 Barclays Premier League matches in a row. 3-0 the final score. In comes the Leicester corner towards the near post. The head is in! Leicester have scored! Leonardo Ulloa on 37 seconds! That's the message to the rest of the Premier League from Leicester. What a start! Ulloa heads them in front. Williamson exhorting his colleagues to defend this somewhat better than the early corner from which Leicester scored. In it goes again, they haven't! It's another goal! Dreadful defending from Newcastle, and it's Morgan who's celebrating, the Leicester captain. Well, Newcastle can't defend set pieces. Tim Krul famously saved a penalty in the World Cup. What can he do here? Ulloa steps forward for Leicester and blasts it in beyond Krul into the net. And it's 3-0 to a surging Leicester City. Newcastle United are plummeting. This will be 8 losses in a row for the proud North East club, and they are right in the relegation mix. 3-0 to Leicester. Yes, and that's the sad truth about Newcastle today, Clive Walker, is that they are anything but united on the evidence of what we've seen today.
Yeah, and I think they've been totally annihilated by Leicester. most of it is all their own fault. Most of it is just through general bad play, disorganisation. They look aside. If Newcastle today were bottom of the league, you'd say, without a doubt, that's why they're bottom, because they're the worst side around. But do
you think that's true? They are the worst team in the league right now.
The way they're playing, yes, I think they're the worst team in the league, and I think they have a huge problem to stay up. They have got themselves into this situation, in my opinion. I said this before kick-off, that the work rate has gone, and I think we know that what the Premier League is like. It's intense, and you have to keep going. For how many times do we see the top team score in the dying minutes of a game?
How are they going to get more points? At home to West Brom next week, Janmaat and Williamson, 2 defenders, suspended. I mean, they're running out of options back there.
And the problem is the players will see that as well now. Now they've had the 2 sending-offs today. They'll see that, we're in trouble, and mentally they will struggle to get out of it. Big job for John Carver. How does he get the points? Goodness knows, because how do you reorganise a team that are in that much trouble? We said it right from the off. The first goal, for me, was a poor attempt to try and clear. Sissoko being the main problem, but to be honest, it's the whole team. It's not just Sissoko.
20 seconds. Let's give some credit to Leicester City.
Absolutely. Their desire, their drive, the manager's job that he's done over recent weeks has been nothing more than fantastic. Today's performance, absolutely terrific.
The effort from Vardy and co was there right throughout.
Well, they worked hard. They worked hard, and if you work hard, you get your results.
Been a pleasure, Clive. Thank you very much for your contributions today. Well, Leicester have beaten Newcastle by 3-0. What next in the relegation battle? Liverpool QPR is our featured game, coming very shortly with Adam Bridge and Adrian Clark. You're listening to Barclays Premier League Live with talkSPORT. Plenty more to come on this huge day in the relegation fight.
One planet, one game, one football. The all-new One Football app is available right now for iOS, Android and Windows phones. With all the latest football news, live scores, results, highlights and more from the Premier League, Champions League and hundreds of international competitions. Download the One Football app from your app store today to follow all the Premier League matches with live text commentary and vote for your man of the match. One Football, the best app for football fans.
Well, Everton coming forward here. It's 3. Kevin Morales off the bench to finish Manchester United off.
This is Barclays Premier League Live. Exclusive global Premier League radio commentary and post-match analysis.
Found its way to Walters, back to Arnautovic. Tries a turn, it's going to come back for Adam. Oh, absolute rocket into the top corner. Stoke deservedly level.
Barclays Premier League Live. All the biggest games every Premier League weekend.
It's going to be in, surely. It's turned in. Leicester have the lead. Just a minute after Burnley miss a penalty. Leicester go off the other end and put the ball into the back of the net.
This is Barclays Premier League Live. Never miss a kick of the Barclays Premier League. All weekend, every weekend.
Here's Kolarov, who thought his goal had won the game. It's a good delivery, and it's turned in by Fernandinho. They were 2-0 up, they were pegged back to 2-2, and Fernandinho, with his 3rd goal of the season, makes it Manchester City 3, Aston Villa 2.
Exclusively live Barclays Premier League action throughout the season. This is Barclays Premier League Live.
Oliveira goes one way, and the ball into the channel finds him. Back across the face of goal! And there it is! Goal number 3 from the unlikeliest of sources for Swansea City, Jack Cork.
This is Barclays Premier League Live. Exclusive global Premier League radio commentary and post-match analysis.
Ramirez plays it in Doyle, and Doyle is seeing it, and he does, and it's Hull City who will take all 3 points in an afternoon where they needed to get the job done.
Barclays Premier League Live. Exclusive worldwide coverage and full match commentary of the Barclays Premier League.
Here comes Spurs looking to get back on terms, and they have for the 2nd time in the game. Spurs have got themselves level.
talkSPORT live on TuneIn. This is Real Radio.
Back in the net!
Hear every Barclays Premier League match live, including next weekend's match between Chelsea and Liverpool.
Hazard to put Chelsea in front. A delightful finish from Eden Hazard.
Every kick, every goal from the home of football on TuneIn in association with talkSPORT.com, official global audio partner of the English Premier League. The Barclays Premier League Live.
Oh, Would you believe it?
Don't miss a single second of the most exciting competition in world football.
They've done it! They've turned it around!
Bringing you all the goals, the drama, the controversy, the exhilaration, the highs and the lows.
Oh, it's a magnificent goal!
This is Barclays Premier League Live.
Welcome to our coverage of Liverpool against Queen's Park Rangers from Anfield. I'm your host, Adam Bridge. Alongside me is the former Arsenal and Southend United winger Adrian Clark. You're listening to Barclays Premier League Live with talkSPORT. Now, the biggest fight of the weekend may be taking place in Las Vegas later today, but this afternoon we'll concentrate on the fight to stay in the Barclays Premier League. Leicester's win over Newcastle puts the pressure on Villa, Sunderland, Burnley and Queen's Park Rangers, who all kick off in the next 15 minutes. Our main game sees Liverpool take on Queen's Park Rangers on a day where football won't be the priority for Chris Ramsey and his side. They'll need to pick themselves up following the sad news this morning of the death of their teammate Rio Ferdinand's wife Rebecca at the age of just 34. Both teams will wear black armbands, and our thoughts are with Rio and his family this afternoon. Let's run you through the two sides then for our main game. Liverpool, of course, have failed to score in their last two, a draw last weekend against West Brom and a defeat in midweek against Hull. There are three changes. Allen, Ipe and Balotelli go out. Gerrard, Lallana and Ricky Lambert comes in for his first start since Sunderland on the 6th of December. They line up with Mignolet in goal. We expect a flat back four today of Johnson, Lovren, Skirtle and Shan, Henderson and Gerrard the holding midfielders, and then Sterling, Coutinho and Lallana providing the support up front to Ricky Lambert. Ward, Kolo Touré, Moreno, Lucas returns to the bench from injury, Markovic, Allen and Ipe complete the lineup for Liverpool today. As for Queen's Park Rangers, Bobby Zamora has a slight thigh injury. He's on the bench. Leroy Fer comes in for his first start since February. It's Robert Green in goal, a back four of Anua, Corker, Dunn and Hill. It's Phillips, Sandro, Barton and Henry in midfield, and Fer will provide the support up top for the 17-goal man Charlie Austin. The bench today for Queen's Park Rangers, the reserve keeper McCarthy, Wright Phillips, Ewan, Cranshaw, Hoylett, Zamora and the youngster 18-year-old Reece Grego Cox. They are your lineups for today. Martin Atkinson is the man in charge, and as I said, alongside me today is Adrian Clark. Last weekend we watched a fairly dull old affair between West Bromwich Albion and Liverpool. I'm expecting more from Liverpool today and also more from Queen's Park Rangers, because with 4 games left they need to win 3 of these 4, don't they?
They really do. I think they need to take 3 points from Anfield here today, Queen's Park Rangers, to realistically give themselves a shot at staying in the Barclays Premier League. Liverpool are there for the taking on current form. They were really disappointed, as you say, last time out when we saw them at the Hawthorns. They weren't any better, were they, against Hull City in midweek, and they desperately need a performance themselves. I don't think they can qualify for the top 4 now realistically, but they need to get some spirit back here.
There's a 7-point gap to Manchester United with 4 games to go, of course. Ricky Lambert starts today. You can only but feel it's not been the dream move that Ricky wanted, obviously, but Balotelli's injured, Barini's not even in the squad today, and we know Sturridge isn't playing again this season. Is he just playing by default?
Pretty much, but he could embarrass his manager today, couldn't he? Imagine Ricky Lambert scoring 2 goals, maybe grabbing a hat-trick, a man-of-the-match performance. People will be asking, rightly so, why have you left him on the bench for the majority of this season, Brendan Rodgers? I think he's been harshly treated, Ricky Lambert. It won't be easy for him today because he's bound to be slightly rusty, but he's going to be hungry and eager to score goals and to make a big impression.
More to come from Adrian on Liverpool against Queen's Park Rangers, our main game today here at Anfield. As I mentioned, it's all getting very exciting at the foot of the table then, with Leicester's victory over Newcastle. The pressure then moves around the country, starting in the Midlands at Villa Park. They may be in the FA Cup final, but they're not safe yet. Everton are the visitors today. Tim Long is watching.
It's the 200th meeting between Aston Villa and Everton today, and no doubt one of the most important. If the most played fixture in the history of the English top flight is to continue into next season, Villa could very much do with the points. Last week's 3-2 defeat at Manchester City sees them just 2 points clear of the drop zone, having played a game more than Sunderland. Today, Tim Sherwood makes 2 changes to the team that came so close to a point at the Etihad. And Zogbia in for Sanchez is an attacking change, and in goal, Shay Given plays in the Premier League for the first time in over 2.5 years. Guzan is on the bench. Everton will be as tough a test as any right now. Last week's 3-0 win over Manchester United was their 5th in 6 games. Roberto Martinez makes 2 changes too. Out go Barkley and Osman. In comes Naismith and Morales, who finished off United in last week's game off the bench. The Toffees looking to take advantage of the worst home record in the division. Just 3 league wins all season here for the Villains. It's Aston Villa against Everton at Villa Park.
2 weeks ago, Dick Advocaat said that 6 points would be what Sunderland needed to survive. They got 1 last week, and it meant they dropped into the bottom 3. They're out to avenge the 8-0 defeat from earlier on this season against Southampton. Watching for us is Paul Serres.
A huge game at the Stadium of Light this afternoon, with both teams needing the points for very different reasons. Sunderland sit in the bottom 3, while Ronald Koeman's men can qualify for Europe with a strong finish to the season and have already claimed the highest ever points haul in the Barclays Premier League, with 4 games remaining. With Chelsea, Arsenal and a resurgent Leicester City to come in their remaining games, Sunderland are desperate for a result today, but have won just 1 of their last 10 league matches, form that has to change starting today if they are to stay in the division. 2 changes for Sunderland from the 1-1 draw with Stoke last weekend, with Larson and Graham in to replace Jack Rodwell and Buckley. The injured Schneiderlin is replaced by Victor Wanyama, available again after suspension, and Shane Long comes into the starting 11 in place of Davis for Southampton.
Swansea and Stoke are 8th and 9th in the Barclays Premier League. They meet today, watched by James Fielder.
Yes, 2 sides in a league of their own in mid-table, and both are on course of record points totals this term, with Gary Monk's Swansea already over the line on 50 points and Mark Hughes Stoke 3 points off equalling their record tally set last season. However, both sides have dropped off of late, with the Swans' 3-2 win at Newcastle last week being their first win in 3, while Stoke's always struggling Sunderland stretched their dodgy run to just 1 win in 6. The team news: 1 change for Swansea. Yuri Amma has a foot injury. Luckily for them, Neil Taylor is back from suspension. For Stoke, 2 changes. Philip Volscheid and Stephen Ireland come out. In come Glenn Whelan and Mark Wilson. At the Liberty, it's Swansea against Stoke.
A huge day as well for Burnley. They are foot of the table, 26 points with 4 games remaining. You feel they probably need to win 3 or 4 to survive. They're at Upton Park today to take on Sam Allardyce's West Ham, and Dan Wheeler is watching.
It really is now or never for Burnley. No win in 5, no goal in 8 hours, no victory today, and the Championship lurches even closer. Sean Dyche makes 1 change from last Saturday's costly defeat by Leicester City. Ashley Barnes comes back in up front after returning from suspension. He and Danny Ings without goals since February. As QPR showed last weekend, though, West Ham showed little sign of knocking themselves out of neutral. Without the cut of Sacco up front and the midfield vim of the first half of the season, the Hammers have continued to coast towards the summer. 1 win in 14 ought to give the Clarets all the incentive they need. They show 1 change also from their goalless draw at Loftus Road. Morgan Amalfitano gets a first start in 3 months. 18-year-old Reece Burke keeps his place in defence, with Winston Reid still out with hamstring trouble. It's West Ham against Burnley from Upton Park.
All those games are available via the website at talksport.com. If you want to follow the drama of the relegation scrap in the Barclays Premier League this afternoon, that's the place to do it. We'll keep you up to date with the goals as they go in, while we watch our main game today here at Anfield, where we've just seen above a plane flying a banner saying Rodgers out, Rafa in. We'll talk to Adrian Clark about that once we've heard from the 2 managers. Coming up, Chris Ramsey, but first of all, that man, Brendan Rodgers.
You know, Chris has gone in there and they're very well organised. They're all working hard. You know, you see a lot of the recent games. They're pressing the ball very high up the field, very much as a unit. And young Charlie up front with Bobby Zamora, they're a real handful. You've seen it in the recent games. Their last game, it was tough for them, but to have lost, but they still make it very, very difficult, whether it's home or away. So we totally respect them and their fight. But obviously we will focus on ourselves, knowing that we're fighting as well to finish as high as we can.
You know, the games are difficult, we know that, and all games in the Premier League are difficult. We need to go out and play with the spirit that we have done in the last few games. And like I've always said, that the difference between the teams right at the top and the teams where we are is probably that little bit of quality at crucial times. You know, we have to go out and try to be positive and try to get the wins that we need to stay up.
Adrian Clark alongside me then, so playing with a big red banner that says Rodgers out, Rafa in, flying above Anfield a few moments ago. A little bit harsh on Brendan Rodgers, or is the criticism deserved?
I think it's a little bit harsh, but Brendan Rodgers has had a really disappointing season. As brilliant as he was and his Liverpool team were last year, I think he's been as bad this time around. He's made an awful lot of mistakes. The recruitment is the issue. It's been abysmal, really. There are far more misses than hits on his his managerial CV when it comes to signings, and that is the reason they've struggled so much. They had the money last summer, didn't use it wisely, and also I sometimes feel that even though he's a really astute tactical coach, sometimes he just tries to be a little bit too clever for his own good, always chopping and changing formations. I sometimes think he gets a bit carried away in that regard, but I think he's a good manager. I think that Liverpool should probably stick with him in the long term. I believe he'll come good, but he'll have to learn lessons from this season because he hasn't had a good one.
Crowd will be on his back today if they don't secure the win. Tough one for Queen's Park Rangers. Where are we going today? What do we think? Is that away win going to come? Or
well, they've been very bold, haven't they? In their last couple of away games, they scored 4 at West Brom, 3 at Aston Villa. And they have nothing to lose. Well, they have a lot to lose. Obviously, their Barclays Premier League status is on the line, but it's come to crunch time for them. So, with Liverpool, they're for the taking in many respects. I expect them to go for it.
We shall see what happens. The teams are in the tunnel. We're 5 minutes away from kick-off, and you're listening to Barclays Premier League Live with talkSPORT.
One planet, one game, one football. The all-new One Football app is available right now for iOS, Android and Windows phones. With all the latest football news, live scores, results, highlights and more from the Premier League, Champions League and hundreds of international competitions. Download the One Football app from your app store today to follow all the Premier League matches with live text commentary and vote for your man of the match. One Football, the best app for football fans.
Well, Everton coming forward here. It's 3. Kevin Morales off the bench to finish Manchester.
At the end of this week, the crowd received the very sad news of the passing of Rio Ferdinand's wife from cancer. Our thoughts are with Rio and his family at this very difficult time.
Welcome to our coverage of West Ham United against Burnley from Upton Park. I'm your match commentator, Dan Wheeler. This game is being brought to you by talkSPORT.com, Westwood One Sports in the USA, the One Football app across mainland Europe and Latin America, and the TuneIn radio app, Listen to the World. Let's get straight to the team news for this afternoon's match. Both sides showing one change from their last top-flight matches. West Ham bring back Morgan Amalfitano for the first time in 9 matches. Matt Jarvis goes to the bench. A 0-0 draw against Queen's Park Rangers last weekend for Sam Allardyce's men. As for Sean Dyche's Clarets, one change too for them. Ashley Barnes missed that crucial, potentially season-defining defeat by Leicester City last Saturday, and Lukas Jukovic goes to the bench, and Barnes, back from his ban, is back alongside Danny Ings up front. And really the pressure to deliver now very much on the shoulders of Messrs Ings and Barnes up front. Both of them 9 goals with 9 games without a goal. Now you've got to go all the way back to February to find the last time that either of them found the back of the net. Ings has 9 for the season, but he really has to start rediscovering that early season form if the Clarets are to get out of the mess they find themselves in at the bottom of the Barclays Premier League. The early result didn't go for them as well. Leicester City's resurgence continues. Magnificent performance yet again from Nigel Pearson's Foxes, beating Leicester City beating Newcastle United by 3 goals to nil. A couple of goals there for a shower, but the Foxes on the march. Bad news for Burnley, already bottom of the table, of course. They are now 6 points adrift of safety. Aston Villa in 17th are at home against Everton this afternoon. They occupy the last safe place in the Barclays Premier League. So Burnley, with 4 games to go after this one, know that time is starting to get tight for them, and they have to start recording some wins. They're all in black this afternoon in their changed away kit. West Ham, of course, in their traditional home strip of claret and blue, claret shirts with blue shorts and claret socks. An early long ball forward for Danny Ings to chase, but the referee this afternoon is Jonathan Moss from West Yorkshire, has already got his whistle in use for the offside of Danny Ings and a free kick to West Ham. So the two teams for you: West Ham of Adrian in goal, Jenkinson, Collins, 18-year-old Reece Burke, who impressed many on his full Premier League debut at Loftus Road last week, keeps his place with Winston Reid still out with hamstring trouble, as the free kick is delivered long by the Spanish goalkeeper of West Ham, and straight away for a goal kick to Burnley. So it's a Jenkinson, Collins, Burke and Cresswell at the back. West Ham look like they're playing 3 midfielders principally in Kouyaté, Kevin Nolan and Mark Noble, with the wine men of Downing and Amalfitano supporting their out-and-out striker through the middle, Enner Valencia. Burnley are a little bit more traditional, 4-4-2 from Sean Dyche's side. Tom Heaton's the goalkeeper, Trippier, Duff, Shackle and Mee at the back, Boyd, Jones, Arfield and Taylor in midfield, with Barnes and Ings up front. Alex Song, who missed last week for West Ham with a back problem, is amongst the Hammers substitutes this afternoon. The ball is at the feet of Adrian, decked all in yellow this afternoon, clears it up towards halfway. Downing is beaten there by Arfield, but it's back on the West Ham side, edge of the centre circle with young Reece Burke. Out to Aaron Cresswell on that far side. Curled ball down the line for Amalfitano, but Trippier's got all the time in the world to take it down under control and hammer it up towards the halfway line. But Burnley haven't held on to possession. It's the tall teenager Burke in possession, slick back hair, bringing the ball forward comfortably out to the left-hand side, and Amalfitano. Support from Kevin Nolan, but still with Amalfitano. Out on the left-hand side still, and Kouyaté. Now Cresswell, first time ball towards the near post. Oh, and Valencia somehow didn't make contact. Had he managed to do so, it would have been 1-0 West Ham. Terrific cross in from Aaron Cresswell, and Valencia's movement was absolutely terrific. He darted in behind the centre-back Michael Duff, and only he will know how he didn't get a foot on that past Heaton from a couple of yards. It looked well within his range, but the Ecuadorian made no contact. Really good chance for West Ham early on, who've been really struggling, a little bit like Burnley. You've got to go back to the 1-0 win here against Sunderland to find their last victory. That's the only one in 12 games in the Barclays Premier League and 13 across all competitions. Only one win in the last 5 in this part of East London too. So an opportune time to just settle the nerves has been wasted by West Ham. Here's Jenkinson to Downing, but it's all with the EastEnders at the moment. Collins, who was outstanding at the heart of the defence at Loftus Road last weekend. Back to Adrian, who saved that Charlie Austin penalty as well, becoming the 9th goalkeeper in Premier League history to save 3 penalties in a row. He will set a new mark if he manages to stop a spot kick this afternoon. No goalkeeper has saved 4 penalties in a row, so that is potentially there for Adrian, although I suppose he won't mind if that record passes him by. And Valencia is down, clutching his left foot here in the middle of the West Ham half. It seems that him and Jason Shackle came together with that long kick forward. seemed to be too much contact, but certainly not in terms of the upper body area. But maybe, obviously, Shackle just inadvertently trod on the West Ham striker's left foot. But he's down, sitting, needing some treatment, and that triggers Sam Allardyce in his suit and overcoat to get to his feet for the first time this afternoon. Out of contract, of course, in the summer is the West Ham boss. Plenty of speculation and conjecture over his potential future. Will he be here at the club beyond the summer? There was some rumours circulating Upton Park this week that negotiations over a new deal had begun, but we'll wait and see whether there's any substance to that. West Ham fans immediately will want to wait and see if Enner Valencia is going to be fit to carry on here. He's being helped to his feet by the West Ham physio, and Valencia uncomfortably making his way towards the touchline. That's no necessarily indication of his likelihood of being able to continue. They have to go off to come back on, but it's already enough for Carlton Cole to get up and start one or two warming up runs along the touchline. West Ham, of course, have had many problems in the striking area this season with fitness. Andy Carroll out long term, and Diafra Sakho also missing for the rest of the season. Looks like Valencia is going to be okay. Valencia himself has missed a couple of large chunks of this campaign with injury, but seems like he's going to be fit to carry on. West Ham have a free kick for a push by Scott Arfield on Mark Noble. 7th minute in the sunshine in East London. It's West Ham 0, Burnley 0. Barclays Premier League Live with talkSPORT. Please get in touch with us wherever you're listening to us around the world, at talkSPORT Live or at Dan JL Wheeler is where you can send your thoughts. Ian Herrera's already been in touch. Get to Yam's message in just a second. Jenkinson, midway inside his own half. Hit long, away by Shackle. That should go out straight out of play. It does for a West Ham throw. So Yam says Burnley can never do a Leicester because their top strikers aren't scoring. And we can see a team that is down in spirit. Thanks very much for your thoughts at Dan JL Wheeler. Well, certainly Yam's right about the form of the two Burnley strikers, Danny Ings and Ashley Barnes. Last goal that Ings scored was the winner against Manchester City back in March, and Barnes back even further, February, for a goal against West Bromwich Albion. And it's goals which of course are the most priceless commodity when it comes to staying in the Barclays Premier League. Here's Jenkinson on the charge for West Ham down the right hand side. His cross finds Valencia, tiptoes back outside the box and finds Downing, and shapes to cross on his favoured left foot, but it's far too deep and strong from the midfielder, and it's away behind for a goal kick to Burnley. That was very disappointing from Stuart Downing, whose form has definitely tailed off in the last sort of third of the season or so. 5 goals and 8 assists for the former Aston Villa, Liverpool and Middlesbrough wide man. He hasn't scored in 12 Premier League games in 14 matches across the board. And his delivery not very good in these early stages. Here's George Boyd, who got Burnley's goal against West Ham in a 3-1 defeat earlier in the season. And he's quite happy to let that header away from danger from Reece Burke go out of play for a throw. And Boyd makes his way into the area. Here comes the centre, flicked by Barnes. Right to come inside the box towards Taylor, and he misses his kick. And the former West Ham player gets the bird from one or two of the home fans behind the goal that Burnley are kicking towards in this first period. It was a big week for Matt Taylor against Leicester City. It was his first start since August, and then he had that penalty which he rolled against the foot of the left-hand post, and then barely seconds later Leicester went down the other end and scored what turned out to be the winning goal. But Sean Dyche has made a point of saying this week that if they do get another penalty this afternoon, then Taylor will take it again, as Nolan tries to stab the ball forward for Valencia, but Heaton is quickly out of his goal to gather at the feet of the West Ham striker. He scored twice in 76 games for West Ham in 3 years in East London, Matt Taylor. His last in the Premier League was for the Hammers against Fulham back in September of 2012. 11 minutes on the clock here. It's West Ham 0, Burnley 0. Throw to the Hammers, which Aaron Cresswell will hurl forward. Kevin Nolan takes it down well and moves smoothly away from Jones, and now finds Downing on the edge of the area. Jenkinson powering up from right back. He's found. Knocked back to Downing, still on the edge of the area. Now is Kouyaté, point to the box, out to the right-hand side again, and Jenkinson doesn't cross first time. Back to Downing, dink towards the far side, and it's just brushed off the forehead of Kieran Trippier, and away. To get any power on it, it just goes really up off his forehead and makes it simple for Heaton. Well, that's twice Burke has shown his aerial prowess. He did it in the early stages at Loftus Road last week, and it was cleared off the line then, and that was goal bound, and Nolan couldn't quite wrap his neck around it and direct it further towards goal. He's a player that is very highly thought of, Reece Burke, like his first namesake on the bench, Reece Oxford, who was just 16. Yet to make his debut in any game for the club. Might do later on this afternoon. Another one off the production line here at the Upton Park Academy. Here's Shackle for Burnley. Switch play to that far side, and Trippier. He's got support from Arfield, 10 yards inside the West Ham half. Ball forward towards Taylor on the stretch. Just about manages to bring it under control. Now it's Ben Mee in an advanced position. David Jones back inside the Burnley half to Shackle. Forward to the centre spot almost, and Arfield has moved away from two West Ham players very easily. Now is Danny Ings 25 yards out, shoots, hits Barnes, in slides Boyd with Amalfitano. It'll come out to Cresswell, who drives it hard straight into the feet of Boyd. It'll spin towards Kouyaté, nods it over halfway for Valencia to chase. Tidied back up for Burnley by down the line for Barnes, got there ahead of Cresswell, has dug out a really good cross, but Collins is there to head it clear, only as far as George Boyd. Brings a bouncing ball under control, lays it out to Trippier. First time cross is blocked by Amalfitano. Trippier will get a second chance here, left-footed, dinked in towards Berg. Barnes, who then flashes it across goal, and it goes away. He's appealing for a corner for Burnley. He's not going to get it though. But impish, incisive play down the right-hand side by Burnley and from Ashley Barnes. Whipped it in and only required a merest of touch from somebody on the far post. Sadly for Burnley, no one was there. Stays 0-0. Scott Thompson also being in touch. Good evening to you, Scott, down in Australia in Perth. Says looking forward to a cracker to warm me up for celebratory Blues Sunday tomorrow. Backing a Burnley win, hope they stay up, he says. Well, of course, Scott, a Chelsea fan, and they should be crowned Premier League champions tomorrow if they can beat Crystal Palace at the Bridge. Here's Burke for West Ham. A little bit of a lapse there. Drilled it straight into Ings, but Noble will win it back for the Hammers. Turns away from Boyd, and Cresswell will complete the clearance up towards halfway. Kept in by Amalfitano, but Kouyaté's a little bit slow on his heels, and now Ings brings it clear for Burnley. Out to the left-hand side, and Taylor, edge of the penalty area. That's a really good cross by Taylor. It's just curled away from Barnes and from Cresswell, who was desperately trying to cling on to his man. And so much curl on that cross. It hasn't gone out for a goal kick. It's bent all the way around and stayed in play. And West Ham clear. Jenkinson, middle of his own half, turns and moves back towards his own penalty area and got no support and no option other than to go back to his goalkeeper, Adrian. Now here's Kouyaté. Forward by the Senegalese to now Collins has it again. Plenty of time to look up and bang it forward, which he does. Up goes Valencia, beaten by Jason Shackle, and there's a little shove on the Burnley man from Enner Valencia, and they will get a free kick. Burnley's confidence is understandably low coming into this one, only 1 point from the last 15 available. Here's Boyd though, trying to get them moving. Barnes can't get on the end of it though, but Arfield can pick it up on the right hand side. Options here, Trippier, that's a bit of a strong ball for Trippier, that allows Cresswell to close him down, which he does, and find Nolan inside the West Ham penalty area, chipped out of danger for Downing, but he can't hang on to it though. And there's Ben Mee, but he's been clipped by Downing, and that'll be a free kick to Burnley in an interesting position. It's to the left of centre, 30 yards or so from goal. They take it immediately, rolled square to Arfield. Now out to the right hand side, and Mike Duff, that ball down the touchline for Boyd, catches the Burnley man offside, and West Ham will get the free kick. They come into this game off the back of 3 straight defeats to the Clarets. They've not lost 4 in a row all season, and with that win for Leicester City at lunchtime means that the gap to the bottom before kick-off was 6 points. News gets a little bit worse. Aston Villa have scored at home to Everton, so now that gap to safety is at 7 points for Burnley. Came into this game thinking that 3 wins out of the 4 was a minimum. It might have to be that they've got to win the lot here. 0-0 at Upton Park. Burnley in possession, but the pressing and harrying from West Ham means they've got to go back to their goalkeeper Heaton. Long ball forward, won by Barnes. Flick down the line for the overlapping Taylor, who's got time here. Taylor whips it in towards the far side as a flying header, and it's over the bar from Danny Ings. Great chance, the best moment of the match so far, created by Taylor's delicious cross. The flying header from Ings from 10 yards is over the bar. Really good move from Burnley, and you won't get a better cross than that from Matt Taylor, and I suppose that is the touch of a striker bereft of confidence, who hasn't scored for 3 months. Danny Ings hurled himself at it full stretch, but couldn't keep his header down, and it was over the bar by quite a way in the end, but the clearest sight we've had of a goal in these opening 18 minutes. Well, Matt Taylor may be 33 now. He may cut a slightly thicker figure than perhaps in his West Ham days, or certainly in his youth, but that left foot is still an extremely potent thing. And that was a beautiful cross from the left-hand side, and Ings will be cross and frustrated. He didn't at least exercise Adrian there, and West Ham careless without the ball in trying to stop Taylor. He had plenty of time to carry the ball forward and whip the ball in. But Burnley have a throw, which Trippier will take. Aiming for Barnes, it comes off Cresswell last, so another throw to Burnley, just beyond the midway point of their own half. Trippier, cushion touch by Arfield, back to Duff. The pressure from Kevin Nolan, back to his goalkeeper, headed away by Collins. Back to him from Taylor, now Mee on halfway. Lifted down the line by me. Across comes Ings, but can't collect his own touch. In steps Collins. Forward to Kouyaté, has offered himself as a deep option. He's tackled by Scott Arfield, but no foul. Just a throw to West Ham. 20 minutes gone, 0-0 on Barclays Premier League Live. At talkSPORT Live and at Dan J.L. Wheeler is where you can send your thoughts to us this afternoon. Please get involved wherever you're listening to this broadcast, whether you're a Burnley fan or a Hammer supporter, or like Scott down in Australia, or Jan, neutrals. I assume you're a neutral, Jan, anyway. Here is Cresswell for West Ham. Back to his goalkeeper, Adrian. Long from the Spaniard. Valencia not getting any change at all out of Jason Shackle. He's beaten again. Boyd shovels it forward to Arfield, is now on the break over halfway here. The black shirts flood forward out to the right hand side, and time crosses deep and long and flicked off the head of Cresswell, only as far as Taylor, lifted back in by him. It's with his weaker right foot, and that shows a little bit. Boyd did his best to try and keep it in, but overhit from Matt Taylor. And a goal kick to West Ham. And we should get goals in this fixture, though. It normally happens when these two sides collide. The last three have averaged 5 goals apiece. And there were 8 the last time Burnley played here back in November 2009. West Ham winning that one 5-3. Ball forward by Cresswell. Amalfitano steps inside the challenge of Boyd. Now Cresswell to Reece Burke, England under-19 international. Here he is again. Left-footed pass up towards Amalfitano. That's good play by Valencia around Trippier, but Trippier is quick back into his place. Ball forward to Kouyaté inside the area. Down goes Kouyaté. Referee says penalty. Mike Duff and argues the point with Jonathan Moss, but the official made his mind up instantly, and he's pointed to the spot. And Burnley's hopes of getting a fast start here. Oh, and it's a red card as well. Well, who's the referee showing this red card to? Is it going to be, you would think, Duff, but that can only be for possibly something he said, unless he's deemed that as a professional foul, a goal-scoring opportunity. I'm not sure he was officially the last man, so perhaps something he said to the official, but a bad situation has just worsened for Burnley, because Duff, who's definitely fouled Kouyaté, has then been shown a red card. Burnley down to 10 men, and now they face a spot kick. Duff makes his way down the tunnel, and Mark Noble, who missed from the spot in West Ham's only penalty so far this season on opening day against Spurs, has a chance to put that right. Here he goes, scores! Sends Heaton the wrong way. West Ham finally score from a penalty this season, and they hit the front in the 24th minute. Noble from the spot. It's West Ham 1, Burnley 0. Well, they've wiped off that record of being the only side that hasn't scored from a penalty this season. And Mark Noble kept his head, kept his cool, and as Heaton dived one way, Noble rolled it the other into the corner. A side foot, not right in the corner of the net from Noble, and I think if Heaton had guessed the right way, he would have stood a very good chance of saving it. As it is, more problems for Burnley. 1-0 down and down to 10 men. as the bubbles start blowing around Upton Park. Jenkinson for West Ham. Sean Dyche, a few extra notes on his pad before putting it back into his breast pocket. And some reorganisation here with the dismissal of Mike Duff. And some food for thought too. Burnley, bottom of the table, staring the Championship firmly in the face now. 1-0 down, playing with 10 men. And as it stands at the moment, results going against them. As Collins just polices the ball back to Adrian. Jenkinson, long ball down the line. That's a good one too. Downing on his bike towards the byline, cuts it back surely. Oh, great save by Heaton from Valencia. Stunning stuff from the Burnley goalkeeper. Oh, he's kept his team in it there. Downing on the scamper down the flanks. Great cut back to Enner Valencia, who from 7 yards must have thought it doubled West Ham's money. That's an outstanding stop from Heaton. Corner to West Ham. Brilliant, brilliant stuff from the Burnley goalkeeper. Corner is deep. It's over everybody. Flicked away by Jones. Valencia has it again. Back to Amalfitano. Cresswell. Left-footed ball is long and deep, and out comes Heaton again. And makes a very good catch. Such a good stop from Heaton. He had so little time to react, and he just stuck up a right hand and got enough on it. And Trippier with a deep cross towards Ings, and his opposite number there, Adrian, out to catch and bowls Downing onto the offensive. Down the line for Kouyaté, edge of the penalty area. Downing to Noble, square ball to Nolan, now Cresswell, rolled forward to Amalfitano. Noble to the right hand side, and Jenkinson taken down instantly by the right back. The cross is blocked though. He'll get a second opportunity, but he's touched it straight out of play for a Burnley throw-in. It's only West Ham's fourth goal in their last 8 games. It's been hard going for Sam Allardyce's side, who are 4 without a win before today. They have that crucial lead given to them by Mark Noble's 24th minute penalty for that foul on Kouyaté by Duff. And whether it was something Duff said to the referee or whether he was deemed to be the last man, it was a straight red card. Here's Collins, long to the edge of the area, flicked down by Kevin Nolan. Now Amalfitano, good save again from Heaton, high to his left. That was sneaking in the corner of his near post, and Heaton got both palms to it and just touched it over for another corner. Well, Burnley's goalkeeper is keeping them just about afloat here. Morgan Amalfitano got everything behind that half volley. Corner number 3, short one, taken to Noble, away from Ings, stood up towards the far post. Collins goes in. I think he's clattered Shackle there. Yes, he has. Free kick to Burnley. Collins a little bit too robust in for the referee's liking there, and it's Heaton who will get the Clarets moving again. Himself saved 2 penalties this season, Tom Heaton, but he couldn't make it 3. Here is Arfield to Jones. Trippier, little chip forward, but it's too strong for Danny Ings. And Burke will keep it in a couple of yards from the byline and hammers it up towards halfway. Kevin Nolan loses his footing, allows Ben Mee to take it down unchallenged, but the West Ham captain doesn't give up the lost cause, and his pressure forces Burnley to go all the way back to Heaton. His clearance nodded back into the Burnley half by Burke. As far as Jones, forward to Barnes, who tried the little back heel towards Ings, read by Collins, and now Cresswell to Burke. West Ham happy to keep possession here and slow it down. To their goalkeeper Adrian. Now Burke with a chance to bring it forward. Mark Noble to Cresswell, to Amalfitano, just short of the halfway line. Into Burnley territory goes the Frenchman. Back out to the left-hand side, and Cresswell. Once more to Amalfitano. He'll switch play to this right-hand side. That's a really good ball to Jenkinson. Tries to get away from Barnes. The cross should be favourite for Heaton, and it is. Valencia was arriving late, but Heaton was there. Underarm to David Jones. Now Shackle to Mee. Now Taylor. Back to goalkeeper Heaton, who I don't think was necessarily expecting that. He had to make a good sort of 15 or 20 yards running around back towards the ball. Taylor has it again on halfway. Square to Arfield. Just moves away and shrugs off the challenge of Kevin Nolan. Trippier on the right-hand side. Amalfitano tracking him, as is Kouyaté. Boyd to his left. Still with Kieran Trippier. Rolled forward to Boyd inside the penalty area. Back out to Trippier. Cross is blocked by Amalfitano, but it will be a first corner of the match for Burnley. And a chance for their fans, who are right behind Trippier here. Trippier with it, and it's cleared off the line, possibly saved by Adrian. There was a West Ham man on that post as well. Ashley Barnes with the header, and it might have been Cresswell that got the final touch, but the West Ham goal is preserved. I think it's Adrian, yes, getting a replay of that. Strong header from Ashley Barnes, unmarked, and that's a good save by Adrian, because he had Matt Taylor right in front of him. He wouldn't have seen anything. Burnley knocking at the door. 34th minute. Come closest with these two headers. The flying one from Ings from Taylor's cross from 10 yards when it was 0-0 over the bar. And then that second one from Barnes. Free header from the corner. Well saved by Adrian, who before this game had made more saves than any other goalkeeper in the Barclays Premier League. Heaton's not too far behind him, fourth on the list in the current season. Here is Downing, edge of the area to Kouyaté, and now Mark Noble, edge of the D, forward to Jenkinson. Burnley appealing for offside, and they get it. And free kick to the visitors with about 9 minutes to go to half-time. Burnley, first and foremost, will be keen not to concede any more goals, at least until the break, where they can regroup, perhaps reshuffle, and a few words from their boss Sean Dyche. But it's going to be tough for them. 1-0 down, playing with only 10 men. Here is Mee, lifted down the touchline by him, headed away by Collins, touched by Mark Noble to Burke. Ball over the top from him. Mee First time ball to Barnes, has a quick look round and sees Ings scampering down the left-hand side. Jenkins is there first though, and that's good play from the Arsenal loanee. Gets a low 5 from Mark Noble, as he just allows that to cross the dead ball line for a goal kick for West Ham. It's been tough going for Burnley in this opening 35 minutes. Those 2 clear-cut chances, neither of them were taken. I suppose you have to credit Adrian for the save from Barnes' header, but certainly pointing the fingers at Ings for not at least hitting the target with his diving effort from that cross from Matt Taylor. And Burnley cannot afford to waste such moments. They haven't scored a Barclays Premier League goal for over 8 hours now. It has been fine margins for them in recent times, though. They've lost the last 3 games by a single goal to 0. Jenkinson swallowed up by Jones and given straight back to Jenkinson by the former Wolves and Wigan midfielder. And West Ham can come again. Cresswell down the left-hand side, forward to Amalfitano, 10 yards inside the Burnley half. Back to Kouyaté, the man who was fouled for that penalty converted by Mark Noble. Jenkinson on halfway, forward to Downing, who's been playing down the right-hand side for much of this opening period. Back to the feet of Collins, square to Burke, back to James Collins. Now Downing on halfway. That's a poor ball from him though. Straight to Taylor. Now Ings back to Taylor, middle of the Burnley half. A quick look and a chip forward by him. Away by Jenkinson, kept in play by Noble and by Kevin Nolan. Now Kouyaté still inside the West Ham half. Burke has it to the left back Cresswell, back infield to Kouyaté, exchanges passes with Amalfitano, forward to Kevin Nolan. It was half the ball there and Jones jabs it forward, but Ings is frustrated. He's a lonely figure there, Danny Ings. He can't get into the game in these last few moments. He's playing very much now as an out-and-out solitary striker. Shuffle following Michael Duff's red card. And West Ham have hogged possession pretty much ever since. Kouyaté for them now. Amalfitano, Cresswell to his left and Noble to his right. Still with Amalfitano, who's done well to get round Arfield. Still with him. Now Cresswell involved. Back to the halfway line it goes. This is patient stuff from the home side. Now with Downing, a quick look up and a cuff out to the far side from him with his left peg. Doesn't find Cresswell, headed away by Trippier. Only as far as Noble, square to Downing, 35 yards from goal. Rolled square to Noble, now Cresswell, just on the point of the Burnley penalty area. Amalfitano plays a 1-2 with Mark Noble. West Ham moving it slowly. Amalfitano now whipped in with pace towards the near post. Oh, and somehow first Kevin Nolan and then Enner Valencia couldn't direct it towards goal. The referee's whistle has gone, so that may well have been for either a push from Nolan or more likely Valencia as he came in. I'm not sure the goal would have stood had they managed to find the back of the net, but it was a great delivery from Amalfitano. And in the end, Shackle was able to kick it away. Matt Taylor, beg his pardon. But free kick anyway to Burnley. So it's slow stuff from West Ham, and then as quick as a flash, that ball whipped in from Amalfitano that very nearly bore fruit. 1-0 to West Ham, 5 minutes to go to half-time on Barclays Premier League Live with talkSPORT. Both of the managers in their suits at the edge of the technical area. Here's Burke for West Ham. He's dallying on the edge of his own area and almost giving the chance there to Ings. He's got a second opportunity to hack it clear, which he does. Jenkinson picks it up for West Ham across the halfway line to the right-hand side and Downing on the overlap. With Stuart Downing inside the penalty area, chipped towards the far post, headed away by Trippier. Might come for Kouyaté. Downing has it instead. Wide to the left-hand side, and then Valencia. 25 yards, Valencia shoots. Great block there by Trippier. Really threw himself in the line of that effort. And it goes all the way back to the halfway line, and Burke to Noble. Curled out towards the far side. Not much room on that left-hand flank for Morgan Amalfitano. Away by Shackle. That's a shove by Valencia, I think. Inside the centre circle on Danny Ings, who's still face down in the turf, holding the back of his head. Nolan comes to the referee and has a quiet word. It'll be a free kick at the very least here to Burnley. It was a stray arm from Enner Valencia that just caught the top of Danny Ings' head. Valencia has been shown a yellow card for that challenge. Ings has now rather groggily got to his feet, and he's going to be okay. Here comes the free kick delivered long, headed away by Collins. Taylor goes in, showing the studs a little bit there on Carl Jenkinson. But it's come off Taylor last anyway, so a throw to West Ham. 2.5 minutes until the break. West Ham leading by Mark Noble's 24th minute penalty, the first spot kick West Ham have converted this season. Tom Heaton, who saved 2 penalties this season, couldn't make it 3. Here's me for the visitors, just short of the halfway line. Jones inside the centre circle. Trippier back to Heaton. That's a little bit strong for the goalkeeper, but he's just got enough time to steady himself and clear it before Valencia hares down on him. Back into the Burnley half from Collins. And here's David Jones. Look up and a ball forward to Danny Ings. He's come short. He's got to go back inside his own half though, Ings. And now May forward to Arfield. Shackle has time just outside his own D though. Chipped up towards Ings, takes on his chest well, shrugs off Jenkinson, then wants a foul against Mark Noble, and he's going to get it as well. Noble stretches out both arms towards the referee in sheer disbelief. Burnley going to get the free kick. It wasn't so much his first foot there, Mark Noble, but more his follow through that caught Ings. Burnley take it straight away. Arfield, that's good play. Starlem's his way past 3 players. Still he's trying to bulldoze his way to the edge of the area. It looked like he had a bit of a kick out there at Mark Noble, but it's gone Burnley's way. And Noble has been shown a yellow card. Well, that's obviously for persisting since fouling there by the West Ham midfielder, but you've got to be a bit sorry for him there. Booked seconds ago, it looked like he was the man who was fouled there. It was definitely a 50-50, and looked like Noble was caught there as the 2 players came together, but the referee has seen that not only as a foul against West Ham, but also as a yellow card against Mark Noble. So possible options and chance here for Burnley. It's just a fraction left of centre. It's around about 25 yards from goal, perhaps a touch more than that. Boyd, Trippier and Jones, the 3 around him. He has now moved away. It looks like Kieran Trippier is favourite here. 4 men in the principal West Ham wall. It might go square here to David Jones from a set-piece routine. It's Trippier instead who takes it. It won't dip enough. It's over the bar, goal kick. Well, it was coming down all the time from Kieran Trippier, but sadly for him, not quite dipping enough. Adrian scrambling across. I think he would have got it, Adrian, had that been on target. 10 seconds of normal time remaining in this first half. Might be a minute or two to add on at the end, given the couple of injuries that we've had. Here comes the board. There will be 2 minutes to go. Arfield for Burnley. Taylor moving away from Valencia. And Mees' cross is blocked by Kevin Nolan. Throw to Burnley, but it's deep inside their own half. Matt Taylor, who can produce long throws, needs a biggie here. Down the touchline he goes, gets good distance on it. Barnes juggling Jenkinson. West Ham win it though, and Noble has it in the middle of the Burnley half. It's a strange pass from him though, arcing all the way back into West Ham territory. Now on halfway with Cresswell. That's a lovely ball to Downing, who's kept it in brilliantly, and the cutback can only find the diving header of Jason Shackle away for a throw, but it was a very direct counter there from West Ham, and smart stuff from the Hammers, almost catching Burnley cold there. Jenkinson with the throw, Kouyaté on the turn, cross is blocked, headed out of danger by Mee. Chest pass from Downing finds Noble. Now Cresswell, crowd wanting to have a go from all of 40 yards, he does, and that's not too far over the top from Aaron Cresswell, who has got a couple of goals this season, the summer signing from Ipswich Town, who's really found his feet in the Barclays Premier League this campaign. Had a terrific season, but even for his shell of a left foot, that was some distance away. Eaton with this goal kick as we approach the end of the first period here at Upton Park. We'll go straight out of play over Ashley Barnes' head for a throw to West Ham. 1-0 they lead. Jenkinson takes the throw, and there's the whistle for half-time. West Ham go into the break a goal up thanks to Mark Noble's penalty, the first successful spot kick that West Ham have had this season, on 24 minutes for a foul on Kouyaté from Duff. Duff was then shown a straight red card, probably deemed to be the last man by referee Jonathan Morris, but Burnley will look back at chances for Danny Ings at 0-0 and then Barnes at 1-0 down, both with headers, both free headers, both really should have done better. But at half-time, the sorry scoreline for Burnley is that they are trailing at Upton Park. It's West Ham 1, Burnley 0. Join us for live second half commentary in around about 15 minutes time. You're listening to Barclays Premier League Live with talkSPORT.
From Manchester City, Sergio Aguero opened the scoring inside 3 minutes.
No, we are thinking just to win the next game against Tottenham. In this moment we are 2 points in front of United. We don't depend just on what we can do. If we can reach the second place, or we are just thinking try to win the next game.
And then Monday, Hull City versus Arsenal from the KC Stadium.
El Mohammadi crosses, it's won by Dawson, and Hull City have taken the lead at the KC Stadium.
A lot of people a week ago were writing us off, but so we give ourselves a chance. That's all we've done, because we've still got 4 games to play, and I still think we need a couple of results, because other teams last week, teams at the bottom, got a result. It's all still to play for, and exciting, I suppose, if you're watching it from afar.
He's got 2 players with him, Giroud, but he goes for a goal and scores himself, and Arsenal are going second in the Barclays Premier League. Olivier Giroud rounds it off. A wonderful day for Arsenal.
They had 2 great performances. They were quite in a very bad situation, and they had 2 amazing results, especially at home. They've just beaten Liverpool, and therefore we are warned that we will face a big challenge there.
That's all still to come on Barclays Premier League Live with talkSPORT.
Plenty more good stuff to come this weekend then. Already today, Leicester victorious against Newcastle by 3-0. Liverpool lead here at Anfield. And there was a second goal in the game at Villa Park between Aston Villa and Everton. The commentary comes from Tim Long. Can they link up again? It's in towards Blow once more. And coming into the back post was Christian Benteke to double his Extraordinary run of form for Christian Benteke, his second of the game. Elsewhere at half-time, Sunderland 1, Southampton 1. Gomez gave them the lead from the penalty spot. Mane with the equaliser for Southampton. His goal is between Swansea and Stoke, and West Ham lead Burnley by a goal to nil. Mark Noble with the penalty that saw Duff red carded as well. All of those games at half-time. Half-time here at Anfield as well, where Philippe Coutinho's goal separates the sides. Lambert cutting in towards the edge of the box, plays the cross to Coutinho in space, chance to shoot, Banks got it in! Philippe Coutinho with yet another goal for Liverpool, and it's an absolute beauty as well. He took his time, he didn't rush, he picked his spot in the top left-hand corner, and he absolutely floated it with pinpoint precision. Liverpool lead here, it's Coutinho again. Liverpool 1, Queen's Park Rangers 0. Liverpool, of course, trying to chase down Manchester United. There's a 7-point gap between them. United fourth in the table. They play at 5:30 tonight. West Brom are the visitors to Old Trafford. Let's hear from the two managers.
You shall always be compared with your opponent. And when your opponent shows more aggression, then you have to show that also. Otherwise, you are the underdog. And that's a lesson. But it happens more than once, normally. So I don't hope that it is against West Bromwich Albion again.
The thing with this league is that nobody packs it in, everybody keeps going. That'll be. I'm sure Sean will be saying that to the lads at Burnley. Chris will be saying the same things at the lads at QPR. While there's a chance, then it's that spirit and commitment that this country is renowned for. When you are up against it, and nobody gives in.
Adam Virgo and Alex Crook will bring you full commentary on Manchester United against West Brom. Darren Fletcher, of course, returning to Old Trafford. That game kicks off in about just over an hour and a half from now. When we come back, we'll talk to Adrian Clark about Liverpool's dominance in the opening 45 minutes here at Anfield. You're listening to Barclays Premier League Live with talkSPORT.
One planet, one game, one football. The all-new One Football app is available right now for iOS, Android and Windows phones. With all the latest football news, live scores, results, highlights and more from the Premier League, Champions League, international competitions. Download the One Football app from your App Store today to follow all the Premier League matches with live text commentary and vote for your man of the match. One Football, the best app for football fans.
Well, Everton coming forward here. It's 3. Kevin Morales off the bench to finish Manchester United off.
This is Barclays Premier League Live. Exclusive global Premier League radio commentary and post-match analysis.
Found his way to Walters, back to Arnautovic. Tries a turn, it's going to come back for Adam. Oh, absolute rocket into the top corner. Stoke deservedly level.
Premier League Live. All the biggest games every Premier League weekend.
It's going to be in, surely. It's turned in. Leicester have the lead. Just a minute after Burnley miss a penalty. Leicester go up the other end and put the ball into the back of the net.
This is Barclays Premier League Live. Never miss a kick of the Barclays Premier League. All weekend, every weekend.
Here's Kolarov, who thought his goal had won the game. It's a good delivery, and it's turned in by Fernandinho. They were 2-0 up, they were pegged back to 2-2, and Fernandinho, with his third goal of the season, makes it Manchester City 3, Aston Villa 2.
Exclusively live Barclays Premier League action throughout the season. This is Barclays Premier League Live.
Oliveira goes one way, and the ball into the channel finds him. Back across the face of goal! And there it is! Goal number 3 from the unlikeliest of sources for Swansea City, Jack Cork.
This is Barclays Premier League Live. Exclusive global Premier League radio commentary and post-match analysis.
Ramirez plays it in Doyle, and Doyle has seen it, and he does, and it's Hull City who will take all 3 points in an afternoon where they needed to get the job done.
Barclays Premier League Live. Exclusive coverage and full match commentary of the Barclays Premier League.
Here comes Spurs looking to get back on terms, and they have for the second time in the game. Spurs have got themselves level.
talkSPORT live on TuneIn. This is Real Radio.
Back in the net!
Hear every Barclays Premier League match live, including next weekend's match between Chelsea and Liverpool.
Hazard to put Chelsea in front. A delightful finish from Eden Hazard.
every kick, every goal from the home of football on TuneIn in association with talkSPORT.com, official global audio partner of the English Premier League.
Welcome back to Anfield. Adrian Clark alongside me. Bright start from QPR, but the stuffing knocked out of them with a goal, and they've not really recovered since, have they?
No, their reaction to the goal wasn't a great one, actually. They tended to retreat, and Liverpool ended up dominating that first half, creating a few chances. There was lots of last-ditch defending from QPR, and really, I think they need to spend a lot more time inside Liverpool's half, and particularly in and around the final third. They've hardly ventured into that territory in the first period.
If you go back to the opening moments when in the first 30 seconds they had the ball in the back of the net, I mean, we can't conclusively tell, and we've seen replays as to whether the ball that was played in from the corner did bounce out of play first. It would have made such a difference to the game, though, wouldn't it, with
totally.
Getting that kind of start in terms of their confidence?
Definitely. Liverpool's confidence was low. QPR were up for it, you could see that. They got onto the front foot right away. And as you rightly say, we haven't seen a replay that conclusively proves that the officials got it right. It may be that QPR have had an injustice there and the ball didn't go completely out of play. We just can't tell. There wasn't too many complaints, but it would have been the dream start. It didn't turn out that way. Liverpool got their nose in front, and since then it's been all Liverpool. And I've got to be honest, if we're going to see another goal, you would fully expect it to come from the men in red.
There's been a lot of criticism of Coutinho's inclusion in the PFA Team of the Year ahead of the likes of Fabregas. We saw with that finish today just why.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put him in the PFA Team of the Year either, but he's good. He's a top player. He has had a great season. He's in form, and it was a beautiful finish. Lovely touch. And then he didn't let the ball sit on the turf. He hit it while it was bouncing up, and he just curled it with the inside of his foot into the far top corner. Absolute class, that goal.
Tough day for Queen's Park Rangers today. They've still got Manchester City to come, of course, a game against Leicester and also a game against Newcastle before the season ends. Can they get anything out this second half? You will find out when you return. This is talkSPORT's coverage of the Barclays Premier League Live.
To everyone ready to take a step, make a difference and prosper. To everyone who puts on their team jersey and cheers their team on from 1,000 miles away. To everyone ready to play the beautiful game in the right way and play their part in making this the greatest season ever. We at Barclays, proud sponsors of the Barclays Premier League, say thank you. You are the true spirit of the game. If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. talkSPORT's international service covers every Barclays Premier League match live.
It's spilled by the goalkeeper, and it's home already! Inside a minute! Connor Wickham, well, he saved Sunderland last season with goals to keep them up! Is he going to do it again this time round?
Full match commentary, pre- and post-match game analysis, goals as they go in from every single Barclays Premier League match.
Oh, that's a real blunder from Braguza, and he passed it straight to Aguero. It's a gift for Manchester City. Sergio Aguero opened the scoring inside 3 minutes.
Hear goals as they go in from around the grounds during our feature commentary match.
Shelby that comes away with it, finds the pass out wide, and there's a chance. Sigurdsson! Montero with the ball into the middle, and Gylfi Sigurdsson has given Swansea the lead at St James's Park.
Every game is covered.
Still come back from McCarthy here into the penalty area. McCarthy dances all the way through the Manchester United defence to finish low past David De Gea.
Get involved in debates, ask in-game questions to our commentary team, and get the world's fastest goal updates with @talkSPORT live on Twitter.
Shane Long, decent ball in Pella. That's a fabulous header. And Pella, who seems to have rediscovered his goal scoring form, has got his second of the game.
This is Barclays Premier League Live, exclusive global Premier League radio commentary and post-match analysis.
Here's the ball by Luku inside the penalty area for Brady. Draws it back across goal, and then knocked home by David Doy. And Hull City have their goal on a day when realistically they must win.
Kick by Sidekick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league. The Barclays Premier League Live, brought to you by talkSPORT Live. Get the ultimate fan experience by booking an official football package with Champions Travel, talkSPORT international travel partner. Champions Travel are the authorised hospitality partner of several major European clubs, including Liverpool, Chelsea and Manchester United, making us the one-stop shop for unforgettable match breaks, including official match tickets, tailored hospitality packages and quality hotel accommodation. Book your trip of a lifetime today with Champions Travel at talksport.com/travel. Make it happen.
Welcome back to our coverage of Liverpool against Queen's Park Rangers from Anfield. I'm your host, Adam Bridge. Alongside me is the former Arsenal and Southend United winger, Adrian Clark. You're listening to Barclays Premier League Live with talkSPORT, where the time has just passed the top of the hour. And an eerie sound around Anfield. The substitutes are warming up. We're still waiting for the two teams to return for the start of this second half. Let's have a look at the starting 11 for you. Liverpool have just started to appear. It's Mignolet who's in goal. Johnson, Lovren, Skrtel and Sham, the back four. Henderson and Gerrard. Gerrard booked in that opening 45 minutes. The two holding midfielders. Sterling, the goal scorer Coutinho, and the ever-busy Adam Lallana providing the support to Ricky Lambert.